Hello and welcome to a video on plyometrics by David Wilkes. Plyometrics involve quick and explosive movements such as bounds, hops, skips and jumps, which aim to take advantage of the stretch shortening cycle and enhance concentric power. The stretch shortening cycle involves an eccentric contraction followed by a transition phase and then a concentric contraction. For maximal power, the transition phase must be kept to a minimum, and if it is not, the energy stored during the eccentric contraction dissipates, which cancels out the plyometric effect. There are many benefits and adaptations to plyometrics, such as improved strength, power, balance, change of direction speed, and bone density. Additionally, sport-specific skills such as jumping, kicking, and throwing are positively benefited by plyometric training. But how does this occur? The elastic properties of a tendon make it the ideal primary source of storage for the elastic energy. Due to the fact that tendons cannot contract voluntarily, a muscle must contract and stiffen before the initiation of the stretch shortening cycle. For isometric forces to be transmitted to the tendon, the muscle must remain contracted during the eccentric and transition phases, which allows the tendon to lengthen and store elastic energy. The muscle then concentrically contracts to assist with additional propulsion. In the neurophysiological model, we have proprioceptors known as muscle spindles and Golgi tendon organs. Upon forceful lengthening, muscle spindles engage a stretch reflex to avoid over-lengthening and injury. This is thought to increase the number of motor units recruited, which increases concentric force output and therefore power. However, the research has not shown this to be true. In terms of the Golgi tendon organs, they are active when forceful lengthening becomes too large, and they engage an opposite stretch reflex to inhibit excitation of the muscle spindles to prevent injury. Due to the inhibitory stretch reflex of the Golgi tendon organs, muscular stiffness and contraction is reduced. It is thought that plyometric training will reduce this effect. Active state refers to the period of time in which force can be developed during the eccentric and transition phases of the stretch shortening cycle before concentric contraction occurs. Exercises with longer eccentric and transition phases allow for more time for cross-bridge formations, which enhances joint movement and improves concentric force. Many agree that the active state is the largest contributor to the performance-enhancing effects of the stretch shortening cycle. In terms of intensity, plyometrics are concerned with the amount of stress placed on the joints, muscles, and connective tissues, which is influenced by speed of movement, amplitude of movement, points of contact, body mass, technical competencies, and strain-yielding competencies. Plyometric exercises can be categorized as either fast or slow depending on ground contact time. In the table below, you can see a variety of exercises and their classification based on this. Intensity also changes with the type of exercise performed. While jumps in place and single linear jumps are quite low intensity, depth jumps and hops and bounds are quite high intensity. Here we can see a model demonstrating the progression of these exercises, starting with single leg hops into single linear hops, and then into single leg multiple linear hops, and then single leg multiple linear hops with a change of direction. Volume for plyometrics is commonly measured as contacts per session. In the table below, there are some recommendations for how an athlete might approach this depending on their experience level, the intensity they want to achieve, and whether they're in an off-season or pre-season kind of situation. Plyometric sessions are physically and neurally fatiguing, therefore 48 to 72 hours recovery is recommended. Athletes tend to complete 2 to 4 sessions per week, and short training programs of 2 to 3 sessions per week have shown improvements in explosive power and sprint velocity performance. There are multiple and many health and safety considerations to consider when coaching plyometric training. Here are a few listed, but additionally, a person's form should be taken into most consideration. Things such as knee valgus could cause greater injury. Here are a few references if you wish to look at some further research yourself. And that's me done. So thank you for listening, and I will see you all soon.